Hi, my name is Roman Vysochin. I'm a musician, composer, and artist. Thank you so much for tuning in into my podcast. This podcast is for anybody who is creative and wants to grow. I believe that art is one of the most beautiful gifts that God gave to us. And I also believe that this journey was never meant to be walked alone. That's why I want to invite you to a community of people who are on the same journey, creating, learning, growing, and spreading the kingdom of God through art. I believe that conversation is one of the most powerful ways for us to connect, learn from each other, get inspired, and grow together. My guest today is Alex Chernitsky. Alex is an incredible guitarist from Belarus who's been living and working in Nashville since 2009. He's an amazing session player, a touring musician, a composer, and a great husband and dad. Over the past 17 years in Nashville, he's done extensive touring and session work for many bands, artists, and producers, including T. Graham Brown, Craig Wayne Boyd, Jimmy Allen, Michael Sarver, Jenn McGill, Brian Lenox, and many, many others. On top of that, Alex has worked on numerous TV and film projects for networks such as Netflix, HBO, TBN, ESPN, and more. In this episode, we talked about his early years in Belarus, whether you should or shouldn't make that move to Nashville, the importance of staying true to who you are, and share some stories about our lives and musical journeys. Alex, welcome to Romansroom. You know what I think? I think that the face of the 20th century in America, the person who was representing the culture the best was Larry King. He was interviewing people. He was a solid interviewer that would interview anybody. He could interview anybody. But it was very scripted. You could tell that scripted.
Especially later in his career.
Yeah. And I feel like now the voice, that's what I was going to say. The voice of America now is Joe Rogan. I think people nowadays are kind of tired of that scripted thing. It just feels unnatural. It just feels like that's just 20th century in general. I personally listen to a lot of podcasts. I think actually, the best way somebody described podcast, somebody said it's just a home handmade radio. Gonna like it.
I'm not disagreeing.
That's literally what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, this is awesome. So you literally just you were here in Sacramento for a family?
A couple of days. Yeah, my dad's 70th birthday.
70th?
Yeah, man.
That's cool. Yeah, we celebrated my dad's 70th a few years ago.
Yeah, I told my dad, it's really cool to come lately. I mean, as you know, I'm here anytime I'm here, I see you. We come for funeral a lot, but it's good to come when it's not funeral. Everybody's, enjoying the day. So that was cool. But tell me, why did you start the podcast?
Dude, it's funny. I have a friend. He actually also lives in Nashville. He does this whole thing. He does this whole branding. So companies from all over the world come, pay a significant amount of money, and he helps people to come up with the name of the company, logo, brand, slogan, website, everything. But the process is actually very interesting. When you meet with him, he's gonna ask you 600 questions. That's what he starts with, and the questions are all over the place. It could be what's your favorite movie? Why is it your favorite movie? And then question would be describe your perfect day, or super random questions. And then he's analyzing all the data. His name is Doro Bear. He's also very good friend of mine. I met him at Bayside. He came to church, and he plays some keys, and he's like, "Can I volunteer?" I'm like, "That's awesome." And he's he's not young.
Yeah.
And it's basically, I ended up giving him lessons, which was like very interesting. When I was asking him, like, "Yeah, what is that thing you're doing?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's the branding thing, and it's both personal, company branding and personal branding." And like, and he's like, "You want to do it?" I'm like, "Dude, of course I want to do it." So I did the whole thing with him, and like one of the questions was just like so like not just the question was simple, but the way I answered it, dude, made me like I was thinking about that for like I don't know 2 weeks straight. So it was a random question. I wonder how you answered that question actually.
Okay.
So here's what he asked me. He's like, if for the rest of your life, you could do one thing, just one action, one thing, and you wouldn't be allowed to do anything else, what would you do?
Is it like hobby thing or
Doesn't matter. The thing is like, if you would just do like one thing, and you would not be allowed to do anything else. It's kind of like a. It's not like a stupid question. It's an interesting question. It's not a realistic thing.
yeah. Breathe.
No, I mean breathing. We're not controlling that.
Okay.
We're not controlling that.
Well,
But like one thing.
Eat. I mean, it would not be definitely stuff that you do daily. It's like if I would say music, it would be still kind of stupid because you don't want to do. Even I do it for forever now, and you kind of still want to step away sometimes. So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't have that thing, I guess. What did you say?
So, like, if I would rehearse that, right?
Yeah.
If like, and then some questions, when he would ask you a question, he was like, you can't think. Don't
Yeah.
think. Like, just first thing that comes in mind. And some questions is like, you can go home and think.
Yeah.
So, like, the way I answered it, like, it was a surprise to me. Because I thought if somebody would ask me that, I would say something like, music.
Yeah.
Something to do with music. Like, I'd be like composing music, like performing music.
Yeah.
But when I heard that question, when he put me on the spot, I said talk.
Okay.
I said talk. I said like, I would talk. And dude, I went home. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I'm like, why did I say that? Did I just say it like randomly, or like, does it mean? Is it something that means to me that much? And dude, for like I don't know, a few days, I was just thinking about it nonstop. And then I started asking my friends. I started sharing that. I'm like, hey, this guy asked me this question. This is how I answered. And to my surprise was that like nobody that knows me was surprised.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like one of my very close friends basically said, well, yeah, you're a talker. I'm like, in what sense? He said, he's like, even when you're playing music, you're talking with your fingers. He's like, that's you. He's like, if I go to Bayside, like he doesn't go to church, but like sometimes he'd come, and he's like, I come in, and I would just come in, and I know it's you're playing or not. He's like, I know right away. You're talking. I mean, and then a few more people like had a similar reaction. Like I'm just a fan of a conversation. I think that conversation is like, well, that's the biggest difference between us and different species,
Of course. I mean, we are privileged to have conversations. Yeah, like you said, nobody's communicating. It's all about, instinct, and we can actually say stuff. And we can, as a musician, we can communicate on a whole another level, like other people can. So that's another privilege to be a musician.
I think music is a language that we also speak. So it's like, how many languages you speak? I speak Russian. I speak music. Dude, my son asked me. We were driving from San Francisco a few days ago, and we had a deep conversation. We just spent it the whole day. Adam was almost 19. So he's asked me another interesting question. He's like, Dad, how many musicians do you have in your phone book? Like in your phone? Not your Facebook, not like Instagram, people do you actually know. And I said, I don't know, like a lot. He was like, 100? I go like, well, all right, let's say that it's 100. He's like, how many of them would you want to go and see live if they're gonna have their own show?
Yeah.
And then like we talked about like the difference between. I told him like, there's a secretary like back in the day secretary that like types text, like very good typer. That person needs to have amazing grammar, amazing like, that person has to like has to be educated, has to know the language really well, a language. And there's a composer or a writer, author. What's the difference? Well, the difference is that the first guy writes,
Right.
and
Other thing can say what he writes.
exactly, and then that secretary, whatever clerk, they just type that thing. They know the language really well.
I would, if we go in that direction, there's a place to be to all of those. So it's like not everybody can write, but anybody can say. If I write something, you can say it, And
Right.
some people actually better than, like in music, I can write, but maybe I cannot say better than you can say it if I give it to you, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, there's a space to be. So you can be, Nashville, all divided by all these ranks. They say, if you're an artist, be an artist. If you're a songwriter, be songwriters. But if you combine, they don't like it, So it's like, I have something for you to say, and you go ahead and say it. And, they do it better than, people who can write. Same thing, composers, like that's why in classical music, you've been trained classically. I went to school. You get piece of music and you can say whatever somebody wrote.
Miles Davis said, to talk about music is the same thing as to dance about architecture.
Yeah.
some things.
No, but see, like to me, especially like if I bring everything and what I do and who I wanna be, and I played for so many years for different artists, and not every artist lets you be who you are, even though you play in their music. So what I'm trying to say is, I wanna be respectful for the person who wrote it and for his style, and I want to be stylistically correct, being in the genre, but I want to find myself in that genre so I can be as original as I can, so I can be my artist. That's fun for me to play, and luckily, I'm playing with the guy right now who lets me do it, but I played for people who say, just stick with the recording, and usually I was out pretty fast because I get bored. That's not my thing. I'm playing somebody else's parts. And in other words, like a lot of people, again, great being in a cover band. I'm not. I get bored quick. So it's like, to me, I still have to be, my own artist. Even I'm playing somebody else's music, I need to be able, speaking of country music, I want to, maybe it's not my favorite music to play, and maybe if I would, record my own project, it would not be country music, but since I'm playing country music, I want to find myself, what I can say in country music. And, I'm being hired for that, so it's like, you go live and you gotta perform, but people can, in the audience, they can say immediately, you disconnected, do you have energy? And energy is number one, I'm going for. But that comes to, that point where can you be, original as much as possible in somebody else's music? So if it makes any sense.
Dude, so you're in Nashville now. When you talk to musicians all over the country, you keep hearing the same thing. So yeah, so I'm considering moving to Nashville. Yeah, maybe I need to move to Nashville. So you probably heard that question a lot of times, but like, who should move to Nashville and who should not move to Nashville? If it's like
I
this
think
simple.
if that thought crossed your mind at some point, I think anybody should move to Nashville. Let's say everybody is financially right and they can support themselves when they move, or they can afford to move. And I'll tell you why. Because Nashville will show you immediately, will you make it or not. Because, I mean, if you in your own town, kind of, you think you're the guy, you're the player, coming to Nashville, you're going to realize, oh, man, either I'm willing to stay and learn and get in line, like everybody says, or back home, quick. I told my wife, if we're moving, it's going to be for 1 year. And that 1 year will show me exactly like if I can be here. My storage was packed here with all my furniture and stuff. I didn't bring anything except my clothes, my guitars, and my kids. That's all I have with me for first 4 months. And then we bought mattress. So for me, it's like, there's like specific time I think anybody can say for themselves, like how much time do you need to figure out, are you actually, and be honest to yourself. You cannot like, exaggerate who you are. So you're kind of like, you have to be basically like true to yourself. It's like not like, oh yeah, I'm superstar, I'm better than anybody else, you know what I mean? So your self-worth was supposed to be like kind of like on point, because I mean you're gonna get destroyed immediately. So you have to answer for yourself. Are you actually doing it? Are you pretending it? What's happening? So it's like, for me, we thought like, well, maybe 1 year would be enough to kind of like figure out.
So are you still thinking that a year is enough?
No, for me it was enough. It's actually we being within let's say maybe 7 months, we knew we're gonna stay. Back in the days, it was no Instagram, no Facebook. I think Facebook just started, but it was even MySpace.
MySpace. So you had
MySpace.
Tom. You had Tom as your best friend.
Yeah.
Tom.
And so I found somebody from MySpace. That was 2008 actually. And yes, stuff started happening sooner for me, so I knew I'm gonna stay. My number one thing that I thought I can stand out from other people, and I didn't move to Nashville to play country music. I moved to Nashville simply play Christian music, because I was in church all the time, playing church stuff, CCM stuff. We played together for so many years before that. So for that kind of stuff, like I thought, yeah, tons of Christian artists are probably gonna get connected. And I immediately got, thanks to our friend, to great church and great players. But for me, like never was a connection. Like I played for a few Christian artists, but it was never connection to play, with Christian artists. But it was opposite. I went and I started playing country music, which I did not know anything, And when they showed me Jason Aldean, I'm like, this is country music? I can play that, because it's based on rock and, like growing up playing a lot of rock music. So for me, it was immediately a lot of producers or music directors, they knew that I have that kind of tone. So, it's Nashville will put hat on you immediately who you are. So it's like, and it's really difficult to get out from that hat later, and people will kind of always know you as that kind of player. And if you listen to, like people who in town longer than you, and I did. So they say just don't let Nashville change you, basically like, don't try to be Brad Paisley if you don't play the kind of stuff. Play what you have. And like Steve Vai always saying, like, I practice what I can do. He's never practicing like stuff that he cannot do. He's practicing, he's already the best. Like, I'm going back to hockey. Alex Ovechkin, he shoots the same shot, and that's why he's grade 8, because he's practicing his best. So that was kind of like same idea for me. I'm not necessarily like stuck to it, but I mean, I still try to explore different techniques, like playing country music with different tones especially. But it was always kind of like going back to who I am. And within that same year, I was working with this guy, and he knew I'm Eastern European. He saw it, and he's like, you got something different. So I'm talking about like even not being a player, being more kind of like composing or doing stuff for, your own stuff in the studio for TV and stuff like that. So he's like, just bring it on, It's like nobody has it. And I'm glad I listened.
It's interesting. That same guy that I was talking about that does the branding thing, I was having lunch with him one day, and I told him, hey, I have this thing. I have a weakness. I'm terrible at something. And I go, I think I'm very good with like starting things. I can start so many things. And like I think I'm terrible with like finishing stuff. Mm-hmm. He looked at me and he said, he's an old guy, old wise guy that he works with, a lot of different companies. And like, he said, Roman, you have to stop thinking like that. I go, what do you mean? He's like, this is not your weakness. It's just not who you are. You are a starter. He's like, I know a lot of people, they have money, they have a lot of like resource. They can invest in whatever, but they just always looking for somebody like you, who's like who knows how to start, who knows how to generate ideas, who knows how to just to start. He's like, keep starting things. I'm like, what do you mean? What if I don't? He's like, I go, what if I don't like finish most of it? He's like, and that's fine. He's like, your thing is to keep starting things, to be thankful that you have that, and then to keep looking for the people that will be in your team, the people who would finish that. And like, and he's like, stop thinking about it as like a weakness. It's not. And I like, that actually hit me pretty hard. And at the moment, I'm actually few 6 months maybe. That's what I've been doing. Actually, I just decided to go outside the box big time and in a lot of different fields, and in like music wise and not music wise. One of the things that I actually kind of like came up with my own device. It's I can't say what it is yet because the guy who I found the right guy who's helping me to finish it actually, to execute it. And we're still not supposed to like talking about what it is, but so as a keyboard player, I used laptop on stage for almost last like 20 years, and I got tired of it. I got tired of using laptop for sounds, and I started my journey towards basically back to hardware. And but man, I've been going to NAMM for like last 18 years or so, and I go and like I'm constantly like being up to date with like what's happening with big companies. And like, dude, in the keyboards world, most companies, all those big names, they got stuck in the 20th century.
Yeah,
it's just like they're just not inventing anything. And that was also discouraging to me. Like, I'm like, yeah, if I go back to hardware, what do I go to? And but lately there's this one company that like I got excited about, like their new products, and they're thinking in general, their direction. What they came up with made it possible for me to start believing in that direction now. But then I still got stuck somewhere. Like I went like, okay, even with those products, for me to play any genre, any gig, I still need that. And basically that I researched it. I was like, I was looking everywhere, and that led to me inventing something that doesn't exist. When was your like first encounter with art in general? Like maybe was it music right away?
I was young. I was 8 years old. I remember orchestra came to my school, and it was like just auditorium, like they played, and I was kind of like shocked, and I see myself when I was at that moment standing kind of on the side of the stage watching orchestra slam it, it was loud, it was cool. It was kids. It was kids who played there. It was a little bit older than me probably at the moment.
Oh, like kids orchestra.
Yeah, it was kids. It's from music school.
So they were probably not good.
In my mind back then, I think it was phenomenal. Yeah, so made me wait and sign up for classes in music school. You gotta. So I came home and I told my dad that I signed up for music school. I did not even know my parents supposed to pay for it. I was back in 1988. It's and it was a lot. I remember it was like 40 rubles, something like that a month.
Wow.
So yeah,
like people are making like 200. Right?
Well, yeah, my dad was. I think he was making like 400 maybe. He was. His job was good, I guess.
But like most people.
But I did not know. My dad. He never said no, and so that was like my first kind of like, I want to do music. And the story is I signed up for drums. My dad said, you pick something else. It's not even musical instruments. I'm like, man, what else?
You know that joke?
Guitar, about what?
One like says this joke is like, who are those people that like always like hang out with musicians, like try to act like musicians, dress like musicians, talk like musicians.
Yeah, my dad thought the same thing. He's like, it's not even musical instrument, pick something else. And of course I picked guitar, and I was about to start school, and teacher got pregnant, and they said, we don't have teacher anymore. I'm like, man, and I really wanted to go. So they offered me to wait. It was just beginning of the year, and they offered me to wait. And I'm like, I don't want to wait. And what else? And I immediately remembered that we have trumpet in my house. So I said, let's do trumpet. So for 6 years I played trumpet. So
wow.
If a lot of people don't know about me, I was playing.
Do you still remember how to play it?
Remember how to play.
When was the last time you picked it up?
Nah, not that long ago. Somebody asked me. I have trumpet back in my studio. Yeah.
So can you play like simple melodies?
I can play. The thing is, I was in school. I was really good at it. I was. I don't want to brag about myself, but I can brag. I was best out of everybody else. And my dad, when he was coming, he was proud of me. So I went to Poland. We went to everywhere. Like I was, competing with people, as an orchestra. We went places. So it was fun. And, like we do every Victory Day, you gotta play all those parades and stuff. It was fun. Yeah, I even played a few times like funeral bands. But yeah, back in the days, it's like when I was 16 years old, I could make $20 a day. It was a lot of money, like playing in a funeral band. But I did it once. I'm like, I don't need money. It's depressing.
Dude, I had the craziest story. I knew some trumpet players in Russia who played funerals. Yeah. I had the craziest story.
But yeah, you know what? It really helped me. I did not know at the moment where my life is gonna be, But and I never had any plans that, like growing up over there, you don't think like professional musician thing. It's like even. I don't know. I didn't know anything. Yeah, just you play music and it's fun, and I'm glad I did. Helped me, with my development as a kid, and stuff like that. But yeah, I started playing piano as my second instrument, and I always wanted to play the guitar. And my uncle had guitar. I was probably like 13 years old. I knew enough about music where I could just kind of pick up guitar, and he showed me chords. Like he had like 24 chords written in his like notebook.
Acoustic?
Yeah, it was acoustic guitar.
6-string?
Mm-hmm. And
because there was also like a seven-string guitar.
Yeah, it was like different tuning. Yeah, it was interesting. I never got into it. And at the same time, I was exposed to a lot of Western music. It was all British stuff, American stuff, metal stuff to, pop. Everything. So I was going, I could copy anything I could, but I was going to his house almost daily.
Copy the tapes?
Copy the tapes, because there was no place to buy.
The tapes, there was a thing.
Even though, my town is kind of like on the border with Poland, we had a lot of access to Poland, but still it was not much information, musically. So yeah, that's I went back to guitar, and the minute I graduated my music school, packed my trumpet, never picked it up, and by that time we already started band with my cousins' friends, and I never went back to trumpet. But the whole thing helped me later when I moved to Nashville, because I could read music. And when you go in a session, so Nashville, they read music. I'm not talking about like notation, sight reading, stuff like that, which you can, if even in church that I was playing, we had all charts, and that was more kind of advanced, all the gospel stuff you do, because it was a lot of chords and, gotta follow the chart.
So why guitar? Why do you think guitar? Did it just like happen?
I was, again, 10 years old, and my dad came home, and he brought like this stereo, like tape player, and it was some kind of like record. And remember Manamach band?
No.
No?
Mm-mm. What genre?
It's a rock, Russian kind of rock band. There was this song "Веруй в Христа," but it's all Orthodox, not like
not a Protestant.
Yeah, it's like on the same level as Черный кофе and that kind of stuff. But it's like a really cool song, "Веруй в Христа," and it was solo, guitar solo with like tapping, and I'm like, what is that? And now I'm thinking, and being 10 years old, that's probably guitar.
So it was intriguing.
Huh?
Intriguing.
Yeah.
It was intriguing.
Definitely. And then a little bit later, like by the time, so I graduated music school 95. Yeah, I was like 15 years old, and the Europe band was popular, and so I played this thing on the trumpet, and but I already played the guitar, so all this like guitar solo, I'm like, I also did not know how they did that solo, but there was nothing back then as far as like Christian music. That was kind of sad because I was growing up in church. But somebody gave me VHS, God is Able, and that changed my life. And I'm like, okay, you can actually play in church. I knew all the players. I'm like, oh yeah, that was Paul Jackson Jr. on guitar, like Laboriel. I knew the names who were on other records, it's like Chester Thompson, on drums. And I'm like, man, this is church? God is Able gave me hope that you can play Christian music, basically, because I'm like, I'm playing in music school, I know all the bands, I'm listening all the records, Metallica, Iron Maiden, Duran Duran, The Cure, like, different type of music, U2, but I'm like, this is growing up and being, in a Christian family, like you kind of still trying to fit in your life what you can, But I'm like, yeah, music really, I'm not able to fit music. I'm listening to it, playing for myself in my bedroom, but I didn't see like how I would, like play it in church, because all we did in church, it was choir. We had kind of like symphony orchestra, like
for like
tiny
special events.
Yeah, special events. You know how it is in churches.
Dude, it's interesting that you brought it up. God is Able is the record by Ron Kenoly, for people that don't know. When Ron Kenoly died, I think
not too long ago.
Like literally like 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, whatever, about 2 months ago. I was surprised how many people just never heard. But anyways, I actually wanted to share this crazy story with you. So I have this thing in my life that it's a too much of a coincidence kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this is something that's been happening to me. That doesn't happen to me like all the time. Every time it happens to me, it's very crazy. Like I go like, what's happening? One of those times when we lived with our in-laws, which was not easy. It was like a pretty tough season in my life. But I remember this one day, I wake up and I have a weird feeling. I have this, I would say, this weird emotion that kind of, I feel like it's not like my emotion. It's hard to explain it, but you're gonna get it later. So it's like I'm feeling this emotion, but it's not because something happened, kind of thing. Like, is this sadness, but nothing sad is happening, kind of like that. And immediately I felt like getting in my studio. I had like a little setup in one of the rooms, and I started making this track. And like I was working on it the whole day. I just couldn't stop because that was a very strong emotion. It was a heavy emotion, pretty heavy. It was like, sometimes it's hard to describe emotions, but one of the heavy, I don't know, sadness, despair, like bad one. But as I said, it's not like something happened the day before to me. I woke up with that randomly, and I would just like, I was working on that track. I was making this demo. It started with this, when you start making demo, you can start with anything, right? You can start with the guitar riff. You can for this one, I don't exactly remember what I started with, but I started with the track. I had no melody. It was just like a music progression and like track. Like I was recorded guitars, drums, and bass, and then like I remember like I had to go somewhere, so like it just haunted. Like I couldn't stop. I remember moving a garbage bin. Like it's crazy how I remember that day very clearly, like almost like, not like minutes, but in details. And I'm moving the garbage bin out of the way, and a melody came now. I'm like, yes, melody came. Like it was like that, like whole nut, and like I run back to the house and I sing the melody. I didn't have any lyrics, so I would just go like what do we call it? What do people in Nashville call that? In Russia we call it like riba or like whatever, like humbling, rumbling, mumbling. Like is there like word for that?
Yeah, like there's people just call it like gibberish or it's like many people call different things, but it's a thing.
You just start.
That's how I write all my stuff. And I don't write lyrics while I'm waiting and producing track. I do same kind of stuff. It's like maybe once in a while there would be some lyric came out of it, like maybe a few. And actually, a lot of time lyricists will catch that and write something around it. Yeah,
same thing happens to me. So, dude, basically, and stylistically, genre-wise, it was not the kind of music that I like normally write. And like when later on, it was like probably like 7, 8 p.m. I was listening to the track, and dude, I'll play it to you, and that was. And I realized that it sounds almost like it sounded like Linkin Park, like badly. It's like if I played it to you, I can guarantee you would say like, oh, this is like Linkin Park stuff.
Yeah.
But it was a very heavy emotion, crazy, very similar sounds. Same guitar, like those guitars
Yeah.
like effects that they use.
Yeah.
I use those same ones. Melodies, the hooks, everything. And the ending of the song, so the bridge was going like it was like the energy was like that feeling of despair or something was like growing, and then it just drops, drums, everything stops, and it just strings, like heavy strings, very emotional strings. Lincoln always tells me like you and your strings. He's like I can hear this Eastern European sadness in you when you're recording strings. He's like nobody.
But that's what I'm talking about, like earlier.
Yeah. So, dude, and it drops. The track drops to the string, and I even put some cinematic effects to kind of like emphasize that, and then like I felt like I'm done with that, and I go. One of my kids was like a toddler, and my wife's like, yeah, go walk him with a stroller.
Yeah.
I go walk him with the stroller, and that was the first moment in that day that I like opened my phone and like to see what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And the first news that I'm reading, Chester Bennington committed suicide that day.
Oh wow.
And dude, and every person I played it to, people are like, this is just crazy.
Yeah.
This is just too crazy. This is like, it does sound like Linkin Park, and that whole track does sound like a soundtrack for a person who's like battling with that thought
Yeah.
to commit suicide, and then finally, poof, like it's like
Were you a fan of Linkin Park at all? Or?
not like the like craziest fan, but like they're genius,
Yeah,
always
yeah.
like admire. I mean, of course, like they're amazing, and and then something like that happened about 2 months ago. So I was in this room. It was probably like 11 p.m. and I was working on something. I actually remember what I was working on some like worship patches, some like sounds that I was making for like modern worship. And like I was done, and I was like, I looked at the time, it was like 11. I'm like, oh, yeah, all right, I'm gonna go to bed. And then something stopped me. Like something stopped me. Like I'm like, okay, literally like that happened to me multiple times actually. When I'm like turning everything off, and it's almost like grabbing by my shirt, like just like go back. So I go back, sit here, and I'm like, yeah, what would, and I decided to listen to the patches that I made, and then I pull up this piano and string sound, which like I like never play anymore. Like last time I played piano with strings, it was like 15 years ago for Russian church worship. It's not a thing that I'm like. It's not the sound that I'm playing anymore. And like I just pull it up and go to C major and start singing and start playing this thing, and then I start singing this song. You are Alpha and Omega. Na, 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 na. It's just literally a very simple verse and the chorus. And the chorus is like, we give you all the glory. And I just keep playing it, and then I start singing, and they're realizing that everybody's sleeping. So I close the door, I put the headphones, put one of those mics, and I start literally just playing and singing that verse and chorus over and over and over and over. And then it felt like maybe like I was doing it for like an hour, and it's a very simple, part. It's like, and I don't know, man. It was very, very crazy, because of the next thing, and I look at the time, and it's 4 a.m. 4. Because I promise you, I thought like maybe I did it for like 40 minutes, maybe like 50 minutes. And I was like, I have to go to bed. And it's like 4 a.m. I turn everything off, kind of shocked, going to bed, wake up, super rainy day. And I walk lately, last few months I've been walking a lot, like a few miles every day.
Yeah.
And I look outside, and it's rainy. I'm like, okay. So I go to gym, get on a treadmill, and the first message that I get is from my friend. He goes, Ron Kinoli died this morning, early morning.
Yeah.
Anyways, to kind of change the subject a little bit, if we're talking about the records that changed your life in the beginning, and it sounds like even that Manamach record changed your life.
Yeah.
But which was interesting when you said that you got intrigued by the way they were doing it. It made me think about myself, and I realized that like my very first encounters with music actually had a lot to do with intriguing.
Yeah.
Because like I remember, like my dad would be listening to music in his car, and some of the music was like some like Eastern European pop stuff,
Yeah.
the Russian pop stuff or whatever, and then all of a sudden he would listen to this tape. I think he had like a cassette player in his car, and all of a sudden, I was a kid. I was probably like 6, and I got intrigued by the chords, the harmonies.
Yeah.
That was, to me, was that. Like some people are like crazy about melodies. I know that most people that I know that play like those solo like monophonic instruments like saxophone.
Yeah.
Like when I'm talking to my friends that play those kind of instruments, they normally are like, I don't know, obsessed with melodies.
Yeah.
To them, it's
Well,
all
I mean,
melodic.
that's why, like, coming from being a trumpet player, I'm obsessed with melodies, and like to the point where, well, it's like, I mean, it's a taste thing, but it's like, let's say you play over changes, right? Like if you like solo and over changes, I'm not necessarily like, as far as like theory goes and the complexity or it's cool, but usually like I'm not really like moved by that, because it's like it's a lot of technical stuff going on. So it's like, yeah, and you respect that, but never gonna give me like goosebumps. But what I'm trying to say is like, but if you play across like longer notes and some kind of like melody and where it's like really grabs you, so I was always kind of like
Melody
towards
driven.
that. Yeah, like even if I would speak about what I'm thinking, like, or how I approach my playing, it would be definitely like that, like where I'm trying to, I guess, like copy vocalists. Like, I mean, vocalists, they don't do like runs up and down all the time, but they kind of like want to grab it. They want to, elevate it. That's how I want to be, and some of my favorite players, like they did that, or either guitar players or saxophone players. People that I played lately, even in Nashville, like saxophone player Tim Coleman, man, that guy is like, he does not know much about like music theory and stuff like that, but he can play, man. And he usually pretty much like, if vocalist finished on that level, he gonna elevate it and just gonna do his thing, but it will not be like a lot of runs, technical stuff. So to your point, like melody is really, really important in anything I do.
What was the last record that changed your life?
It was, let's say, not a record necessarily, but it was live event, which happened last February. Not this year, last year. Hans Zimmer.
You told me that.
My
last
bro. That's something where like you get to listen a lot of music, you get to be a part of many projects, and it kind of like fades away how you take everything. And like I was talking to another guy, it's like at this point you play anything to me and I can find good in it. It's not like we listen so much music, so many different genres, and you can still find even in terrible stuff you can, oh man, it's cool. So you kind of like, but nothing really moves you like first time. So it's like you miss those kind of like steps, in life where you, oh, what's that? Yeah, how do you play that? Or like
because that's how you like just
like
start discovering.
Like,
life.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, that's the kind of next level. And for many, many years, I did not have any of that. I had moments like where you come. I have like love and hate towards modern production. So it's like you listen all the mixes and how songs are produced today. And I'm doing same thing, but it's like not necessarily my thing. But sometimes you kind of like, oh, wow, that sounds really good, or the way they play stuff,
Right.
or like Atmos came out a couple of years, and I remember like I went to Vintage Kin in Nashville to check it out. It's like, whoa, blew my mind. But it's not necessarily record itself because it was familiar stuff, but it was the way it was presented, the way it sounded. So takes you somewhere. But musically, where you open your mouth and like kind of like, man, because going into that show, I did not expect much, to be honest with you. I loved Hans Zimmer music, like as far as like I love movies. I watched pretty much everything out there, and his stuff, and one of my favorite. And watching his documentary, of course, like listening his story, it's like blew my mind. And so going to the event, I'm like, I don't know, it's gonna be in arena. I picked kind of like best seats where I thought it's gonna sound better. And man, he actually, when he explains in his documentary, like he has music written up front for a lot of stuff. So let's say you calling him about something, he already had something in mind. And but the way they do for the movies, obviously they cut a lot of things, they edit stuff. So he brought, like, as far as I understand, he expanded what was in the movie, but he extended and probably like even wrote something for the live show, to be kind of like live show,
Game
so
plan, yeah.
he added musicians, virtuosos, like Guthrie Gowan was there. So he brought like great players to build live show. So, and I think he made it impossible almost, because man, having so many musicians on stage, and
How many musicians? Like, approximately.
I think he said like 90 or something like that. It was a lot of people involved. Yeah.
So what was it for you? What was it?
It just
was it an emotional level? What was it an
well, it was all about, because I knew probably difficulties of to put together something like that. Like playing 5-piece band, 6-piece, 7-piece band. It's one thing, but it's like bringing so many people on stage and make it sound good. And so it was production at the same time, even though like visually was nothing much about it. It's like you would expect, like,
dude, the stage is already packed.
So stage is packed. Like, they did few screens, so it's like visually was not much, but it was like anything they play. I'm telling you, like anything they play, the reaction of audience, it was like incredible, because people obviously they know movies, and immediately like first few notes, and like everybody's reacting already. So I guess the sound, he made it so big and so fresh, because nothing like that I can compare to, so that's probably what it was.
That's crazy. Speaking of albums, do you have a feeling, is it just me? Do you have a feeling that like that format is dying?
Like recording the full album? I wish it goes back. I feel like that's where we are right now, but it's like, again, I spoke with somebody else about that kind of stuff, and so we were talking about this thing. Like, are you expecting the best thing still gonna happen in your life, or it already happened? My best experience was recording full album, and it was a band thing. So it's like when my second year in Nashville, we formed this little band with friends. We met during sessions, and so we kind of vibe and like, yeah, let's put some stuff together, and we did full record in the studio as a band. And at the moment, I didn't pay attention much. None of us did. We kind of like tights for fun for us. But looking back, I'm like, man, it's not much bands right now and not much full albums being released. So I miss that kind of stuff. It's like, because growing up, again, I didn't listen artists. Like, I mean, Rankin Ollie would be one, right? But it's like everybody else, it would be band. It's like I said, they would be Duran Duran, U2. It was all band. You know, like you never hear... you listen Alla Pugacheva maybe like as an artist, but everybody else was just full band. And the thing is, like, you know how they sound, you know how they look. It was all about band. It was, you know, this whole thing. Lately, I miss that because it's just an artist. And if you went to see somebody live, if you want to go back again, that would be most likely different players. So it's it's not the same. So that album thing, it was another thing. Like I'm collecting records. I see you have a record player. I have, you know, a few records, and I bought some records. They are released today, and I have some vintage stuff.
Same for me.
So, but the thing is, it's like attachment to the physical thing. It's more than just you know, just digital stuff, you know. And somebody said this: people still listen with their eyes, and I agree, because you can make everything in the box, but I mean, if visually, or it's not only like having a record and visually listen to that band, but it's comes, you know, more like, I mean, people love knobs, like your, you know, your mixer over there. So it's like visually people still pay attention a lot to details. Like you look in this record, it's like you're reading all the credits. You don't have to go like change screens like on your computer. So I mean, it's something else. And the way I listen to record, I just sit down and I want to listen the whole thing. I can fall asleep, doesn't matter, but I'll be there. And I, growing up, that's what I did. I would go to my room. If I picked up any new record, I would go to my room, I put it on, lay in my bed, and with no distraction, I would just listen to it. And I would listen the whole thing over and over, because it's kind of, and I guess people had the approach back in the days for sure, like they want to even put song placement, like they would think about that, you know, it's like this song is going to be first, second, right. So the whole record will tell you some kind of story.
It's a book.
Yeah. And another thing what I liked about records, like later, you know, I was a big Dream Theater fan, and also like one recording changed my life, kind of like, not really like changed my life, but encouraged me to do like studio stuff. I watched them making a record in the studio, and them or other bands, they would create a tone for the record. So let's say as a guitar player, I would use pretty much same amp, same setup. Drummer would use same tone, same snare through whole record.
Yep.
So that's how they would set up their new tone.